When you think of Rayman, tell me, what first comes to mind? Is it the story of a hero going on a long, epic quest through many trials and tribulations across multiple worlds, all to save his friends from an army of evil space pirates? Is it the long, arduous traversal across mystical lands where you meet mystical beings that help you fight against otherworldly foes in otherworldly, worlds? Just what the hell is that thing? That's just messed up. Or is it Murphy being voiced by Billy West? If you said the latter, then I am so sorry that you found yourself here. Because you are in the exact same boat as me, my friend. I am in this awkward position where I didn't really know much about Rayman until I got my hands on the third installment in the series, Hoodlum Havoc. And judging by the general vibes of die-hard fans, this game didn't exactly set the world on fire upon release. But I wouldn't have known that, because I was too busy enjoying the crap out of this game. I simply was having way too much fun gliding through these psychedelic disco stages, fighting off enemies with distinct attack mechanics as well as comical personalities, traveling across vibrant, humongous worlds, shitting my pants as I ran away from the insanely scary Kanaran. If you had told me that I was a complete idiot for thinking that Rayman 3 deserved any amount of respect in the presence of its older and evidently far superior brethren, I would have said, hey, that's not very nice. Also, name-calling is a sin. I would have said that that's impossible because this game, in my eyes, has everything you could ask for out of a platformer. I mean, sure, it's borderline pathetic with how quickly you can blow through this game given how easy it is to master the combat system. Speaking of which, nobody exactly said the aforementioned combat system was revolutionary in any way. Also, the platforming sections in between the combat sections aren't really rage-inducing enough, which is basically my way of saying they aren't the most challenging. But what you do get here is fluid and crisp. Rayman moves like a dream here, and transitioning him from a running state into a single jump, which then turns into a helicopter mode, feels just chef's kiss brilliant. It all just flows together so well here. The story is actually very amusing. Your best buddy Globox, the blue-balled frog, is back from Rayman 2, and he is just as stupid as ever. Because he just swallowed a black lung, and now you have to drag his ass across multiple worlds in order to find the right doctor who can remove the black lung from his stomach before he can do any serious damage. Andre is the aforementioned black lung, and he is kind of a lot. He eventually gets free from Globox's stomach, where he then builds his army of black lums to take over the world, and you have to stop him. It's very straightforward for a Rayman plot, and I like how it doesn't try to get fancy or epic with its story by forcing too much of the lore in your face. It's pretty much just raw Rayman from here on out. Each level has a few stages that flow so smoothly from one to the next, and then you get an end-of-world boss to cap things off before you move on. I just appreciate how this game isn't trying to be any more than what it is. A raw, charismatic platformer with straightforward levels and no BS. It's not sending you around to every corner of the level to collect stuff. It's not trying to overcomplicate itself with multiple pathways. The story isn't convoluted and overly serious. This is pure, unadulterated Rayman fun, and I can just kick back with the popsicle in a zero-pressure environment and enjoy the fun. Yes, this is the life.
All this happiness in the beginning of the game. Something bad is gonna happen, I know it.
Now, come to think of it, and I'm no expert on Rayman since I only just became in with the Rayman crowd after the third game. Hey guys, what's good? But I think this may be where much of the problem lies with Rayman 3. Because while it's a pretty chill and laid-back game that doesn't get too deep or epic with its story, and also kind of takes the piss out of everything with bad comedy, Rayman 2 on the other hand, whoa Nelly, this game just takes itself way too seriously. It's got this epic story about these robot pirates invading Rayman's world and imprisoning everyone, and Rayman has to go on this big, grand adventure to gain more power from the Yellow Lums and collect the 4 ancient masks to defeat the pirates and save the world from being either enslaved or destroyed. Holy crap, that's heavy. And it gets so intricate with it too, talking about how Rayman must awaken the spirit of the planet Polokus and rebuild the primordial core. And then he has Lee the fairy constantly calling to him saying, "Help me, Rayman, you're my only hope." Like, Jesus, the difference between these two games is night and day. In Rayman 3, it's literally just Rayman and Globox are taking a nap, and Andre the Black Lum shows up and starts terrorizing everybody until he gets gulped by Globox. Ha, what an idiot. And now Rayman's gotta escort him to the doctor. The story then unfolds a little to Andre escaping and trying to take over with the power of an ancient god, but that's as deep as it goes. Rayman 2, on the other hand, just sets up this massive hero's journey type thing. And I think that's just what Rayman fans came to expect after Rayman 2. The game was a classic, it was beloved by everyone after release, and with the way Rayman as a franchise was portrayed here, I think fans just kinda set a high bar in their minds for what later Rayman games would become. This is further reinforced by the fact that Rayman 1 was kinda the same way, albeit a bit more streamlined. You were going on this epic journey through these crazy fantasy-themed worlds, talking to fairies and defeating threatening evil forces. These games carried a similar vibe to each other. They were fanciful, mystical, epic, and serious. There was nothing funny about what was going on here. Rayman's friends were all getting captured and enslaved, and Rayman had no choice but to boss up and save them all. And that's the real shit. This was a serious game with a serious story about a hero whose balls finally dropped. But Rayman 3 just throws that all out the window for some fart jokes.
Sorry guys, just tearing the place out.
The word of the day is cringe.
And this is probably what turned a lot of fans off. Tonally, this game just feels like it doesn't truly care about itself. Like, it thinks we're only here to fight baddies as Rayman, and we could care less about the characters and the world around them. And the levels are so straightforward, room to room, and don't offer much in the way of exploration. I mean, they look nice and all, but it's basically just hopping from one segment to the next with enemies put in your path to slow you down. In a sense, it's very much so a run-of-the-mill platformer / beat 'em up. Yeah, not exactly inspiring gameplay in the grand scheme of things. Also, the decisions they made with the voice acting as well as the comedy just diminishes the weight behind this game even more. It's just clear that this game was never intended to rise to that high bar of epic proportions set by Rayman 2, or to be that explosive finale that we come to expect in trilogies. It was purposefully made with the intention of taking the piss out of every moment that held any amount of weight to it. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. Just ask Murphy, who's voiced by a literal comedian.
How's it hanging, Wiener Dog?
Whoa!
Come on, I'm kidding. Hey, I like that outfit on you. When does it come off?
Oh god, never mind. So there, by comparing it to Rayman 2, this game feels like total ass. This story is just far less interesting, the levels feel less inspired, the platforming isn't quite the evolution you'd expect from the third game in a trilogy. This game clearly just sucks a fat one, don't it? Yeah, well, in a vacuum, this game is solid. As a privileged Rayman fan who showed up far too late to the party after everyone had either left or passed out, I am in the position where I am able to enjoy Rayman 3 for what it is, and not have to worry about constantly comparing it to any nostalgic biases I might have had toward 2. I mean, come on. Y'all know biases exist. We all put on the rose-colored glasses whenever we play our favorite games from childhood. So let's stop the comparing and just enjoy what we've got here. Rayman 3 is a pretty good time, for the most part. The first 3 or so levels are a bit of a drag with how easy they are, but after that, this game goes in. I believe Desert of the Kanaran is hands down the best level with how different it is from the others. The enemy this time is this invincible, intimidating zombie-like creature that you can't just run up to and start fisting right away. You gotta... What? What did I say? Oh, come on. As if that's gonna get me banned from YouTube. Nobody even watches these. Fine, I'll keep it PG. But you, sir, have got a dirty mind. The Desert of the Kanaran is the standout level of this game, because the enemies you face here are invincible, and you are essentially forced to find ways to sneak your way around them rather than fight them head on like you did in previous levels. It really shakes up the formula and takes you out of your comfort zone after you've already gotten comfortable with the previous levels being the more usual Rayman beat-em-up formula. The boss fights here, much like other aspects of this game, are hit or miss. Shout out to both Desert of the Kanaran and final boss fights for being major highlights of this game. You fight Reflux, alpha male of the Kanaran species both times, and he serves as a challenging and dynamic foe overall. I especially like his second fight, as he serves as the perfect final boss, acting as Andre's muscle. There are 4 freaking phases to this guy, and he evolves in each phase, becoming more powerful and more challenging each time. He certainly ends this slightly above average platformer on a high note, so that's a big W in my eyes. And I gotta say this one more time, I really do appreciate how chill this game is. Again, it doesn't take itself too seriously, it matches every serious moment with levity, and while some of the comedic moments fall flat on their face, they at least inadvertently let me know that Rayman 3 as a whole is not asking me to A. freak out over whether or not Rayman can save the world one more time, B. cry over the lead characters suffering some great tragedy that leaves them wounded, but also pushes them to become stronger in order to overcome evil, or C. shout in celebration as Rayman delivers the final epic blow to the main antagonist and subsequently caps off the whole adventure. Oh, wow. That was actually pretty good. Rayman 3 is good for what it is. It's not going to challenge your platforming skills too much. It won't blow you away with awesome levels, epic boss fights, or a deep story. And it's not trying to outdo or build upon Rayman 2 in any way. But at the very least, it does provide for what may be one of the most relaxing, most straightforward 3D platforming experiences of all time. I can pretty much just pop in this game and glide through it in a few hours without having to invest any significant mental energy in it beyond the amount required to push buttons and move control sticks. Sometimes, especially in this crazy world where platformers like Crash Bandicoot 4 exist, where they ask you to die over and over and over again until you've grown a few gray hairs and developed crow's feet from stress, sometimes that's really all you need. And that is why, my friends, I truly believe Rayman 3 deserves better.
Hey, if I were you, I'd call it quits and head straight for the Spider-Man 2 auditions.
Oh my god.